What's up, y'all? Y'all know what time it is. It's time for the show within the show, the Big Buck Sports Report. I am your boy E Buck, and of course, we are now doing that part of the show that we call the Guru's Football Session. And of course, we can't do the Guru's Football Session without the man with the master plan himself. That dude right there on the other side of me, my road dog, my partner, young Hugh Lee. What's going on, Hugh?
What's good, E man? How everything going, man? Look like you having a rough day today.
Man, you gotta know. You know you gotta know. Forget the background, y'all. It's like that this week. Anyway, what it boils down to is we're gonna do what we always do this time. We're gonna talk about some NFL football. We ain't gonna hold you up because we got things to do and y'all got things to do. So let's do this. All right. We're doing it a little different this week because I told Hugh, let me try it this way. And if we like it, we'll keep it. If not, we'll go back how we usually do it. So that being said, I'm about to give you the hookup and then Hugh gonna break it down for you. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how we're doing it this week. So first of all, we're gonna start with the Thursday game. Now, you know, the Thursday game, the final score was Ravens 34 and the good old Bengals 20. It was pretty much a tale of two games. That first quarter, that's when it all started to go bad. You had your boy hit hurt. That would be the tight end. That main man for your boy, Lamar Jackson. Once Andrews got hurt, that made it bad for him. But then, in the second quarter, you had the quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals. That's young cool Joe Burrow. He got hurt. And no, he didn't get hurt. He got injured. He got injured so bad he is now out for the season. Break it down, Hugh. What do you think of this game? And moving forward, what you think gonna happen to them Bengals?
I thought the game had potential to be great, especially for a Thursday night game, because the Thursday night games on Prime hasn't really been so good as of late. But that game was one I was anticipating. But then, like you said, the injury happened to Mark Andrews, and that kind of made the game shaky. But then you losing Joe Burrow, a.k.a. Joe Cool. I said, man, I'm not even interested in the game no more. And it looked like the prime product that they've been giving us for the last few Thursdays after that. But all in all, man, the Ravens got away with that one. I definitely wanted to see a healthy Burrow because I think that could have possibly been a loss in their book. But on top of that, when you looked at the game, when Burrow went out, man, that's the end of the season for the Bengals. I don't see them doing anything, man, after that. They might as well chalk that up as a loss, try to do what they could. But I doubt if they'll even be in playoff mode now because when you look at it, they're in last place, even though they're still a 500 team. But I don't think that they'll be able to be the Cleveland Brown team without Joe Burrow, or a lot of stuff is going on over there in that organization as well. But I still feel like they're in trouble, and that might have been the end of their season after his injury.
Well, you saw their backup over there, Mr. Browning, for Cincinnati. You don't think that Browning could do enough to win them a couple games? I mean, he still got all the other weapons.
It's a possibility, but I don't think that they'll be playoff bound.
All in all, Hugh, I agree with you. They might eke out a couple more games, maybe, but if they won more than 8, I'd be surprised. That being said, we can move right on to the Sunday games last week. First of all, we're going to talk about Miami and the Raiders. Keep in mind, the Raiders have been on a little run ever since they got their new coach, but they ran into Miami, and of course, in the end, Miami did win, but the final score was only 20-13. Was there anything you saw in that game that impressed you about the Raiders? Are you seeing some problems with Miami?
I was impressed because the defense played good and they looked sound. I still feel like if Aiden O'Connell would have got a couple of throws back, it could have been a problem for Miami because first off, I'd like to give a shout out to Antonio Pierce for what he's done and how he's elevated their game with the Raiders organization. They wear with more pride and decency. But yeah, man, I was impressed how the defense played. The offense didn't play bad. And like I said, O'Connell's not playing over himself. He's not trying to overdo it. It's just that he ran into a good Miami team and people don't give credit where the credit is due. Now you got a healthy Xavier Howard and you have Jalen Ramsey on the other side. So it's like pick your poison. I still feel like he got a long ways to go. But at the end of the day, the Raiders are good enough right now. If they keep competing and staying in these games and even probably pull off a couple more games, that Antonio Pierce should definitely be considered the head coach. Because the funny thing is They don't do bad with the interim head coaches, but they do bad with their head coaches. So let's see what they do right now and see if Antonio Pierce can do enough to where they can, promote him to the head coach next season.
I do believe they got 6 more games left in the season. Does the Raiders? How many of those games you think that Pierce needs to win in order to secure the job?
I said if he could win out of the 6, if he could win 3 of them. 2 would be, to the point where they'll probably still have a decision to make. But if he can pull out 3 games out of those 6, yeah, I definitely believe that he can be the head coach, and he should be.
I honestly think, Hugh, that it's his job already. They just want to make sure he is worthy. So they want to
Yeah.
make sure that they don't have no big crash at the end. So barring any 1-5, 0-6 type scenario, I think they do give him the job. Although I don't think they're going to give him a long-term deal. And if I'm the Raiders, I wouldn't, based on the past 2 situations they done had, where now you actually still paying both of those head coaches, even now. You definitely don't want to put yourself in a bigger hole by paying Pierce too much too soon. So hopefully, like I said, I want that brother to get it because I like what he represents over there. Now that being said, before we get to the game, I really want to talk about. You know who that is. Let me go throw a couple more kind of throwaway games in here so we can kick them right quick. We had the Browns and the Steelers. Browns 13, Steelers 10. As you know, soon after that game, there was some discussions, and the next day they fired the offensive coordinator with Pittsburgh. We're not even going to talk about the game per se. The question is, did the Steelers make the right move?
Yeah, because Canada hasn't really done well on offense, man. And I was talking today and kind of just looking and kind of going through those things. Funny thing is, when I was on the page today, Sports Guru to you, for everybody who wants to know, I even seen the talking heads talking about how things was just weird in the Steelers organization when you're seeing things that you don't normally see there with signs saying fire Matt Canada and the players are unhappy and kind of disgruntled. They wasn't really to the point where they was just downright acting crazy. You know how some organizations are where the players just don't care and say how they feel. I think the Steelers is more tight knit and more in house. But did you see the interview with Najee Harris when they was asking him about what was going on and do you think it could be fixed? And he kind of hesitated and said, I'm not really sure. And he was trying to say the right things, but not really put himself in a bad situation with the organization. And he was talking about his displeasures and how he wasn't happy and what was going on and how they were moving forward. And he said, we're winning games, but we can play better than what we are. Basically saying we're a good team if you want to go by the record, but other than that, I don't still really feel like we're a good team. And when he said that, that kind of brought attention to a few talking heads and definitely their organization. It was a surprise they got rid of them like they did during the regular season too, because like you said, they don't never really fire no coaches in Pittsburgh, man. They had 3 head coaches, man, and you never really see them getting rid of, offensive coordinators or defensive coordinators, special team coaches in the regular season. So, yeah, I feel like it kind of went similar to what happened with the Raiders. You seen the players wasn't happy. You wanted to make the players happy and at the same time do a little better on offense and make your team a little bit more explosive because we don't know where Kenny Pickett stands right now. Let's be honest. And we're still trying to figure out what the hell is Najee Harris a bust or not. But until we see the new offensive coordinator and what they do on Sunday, we still up in the air right now.
Yeah, I think from this point forward, on the one hand, the Steelers still are in the playoff mix, but on the other hand, this is like a big audition tape for Pickett and for Najee Harris in terms of what their future is in Pittsburgh. Because in the end, if they make the playoffs, then that's all to the good. Let's see what we can do to build from there. If they don't make the playoffs, then of course they should have a decent pick. And with this being the year of the quarterback in terms of the draft, then yeah, at that point you probably pull the trigger on that and see who you can get to be a better replacement for Pickett long term. Okay, so we got that game out the way. I want to throw another one in there, and like I said, then we're gonna get to the big stuff. We had a bit of an upset, I would call it. The Giants beat the Commanders 31-19 last week. Me and the guru here, we have a little text back and forth that we usually do on Sunday in regards to the games. And at one point he said, yeah, your boy DeVito actually threw a couple touchdown passes, which I was surprised by, even though the Commanders been kind of gutted part of that defense, trade them here, there, and everywhere. But even still, DeVito just has not been impressive at all. That being said, after looking at that game, he did just enough to make it happen. I mean, the Commanders just one of those weird teams that you can't really get a good grip on as to whether they should be good or not. What's your thoughts on it, Hugh? What you think?
It was really weird too, man. You know, the New York heads calling him TD DeVito now, man. So I wasn't too pleased with that. But 246 yards, no interceptions, and 3 touchdowns, man. And he kind of cooked them, man. And I was surprised because, like you said, the Commanders have a really good defense. But on the other hand, man, that Jekyll and Hyde we was talking about with Sam Howell, man, he threw 3 picks. I was a little bit more impressed to see how poised Tommy DeVito was. And just think about it. He's not the first string quarterback, which is not saying much over there in New York. He's not the second string quarterback. He's the third string quarterback, man. Wasn't getting no reps, got enough reps now to where he's playing and he's starting. And to beat a defense like that, even though they got rid of Montez Sweat and Chase Young, they still have enough young heads over there and a good enough defense to where I was shocked that New York beat them like that. And not only did they beat them, it was kind of embarrassing too, because you would have figured that, that'd have been one of those games where Washington just go in and just bully them guys, man. But they look like they bullied Washington and they had control of the whole game, man. That speaks volumes when you look at a team as bad as the Giants, and to see that the Washington Commanders are still in that category now, even though we know that they have talent over there. Issue now is, man, like you already know, man, and we're going to start talking about that because it's getting closer to the end of the season. 6 games left. Ron Rivera being hot.
That being said, 2 things. One, should the man who was coach of the year last year, should he now be on the hot seat with the Giants? And 2, we now know that Jones is not only out for the season, but has had surgery and is going to need about 8 to 9 months to recuperate. So that means he probably won't even be good for the start of next year. Is it time for them to go ahead and get one of those quarterbacks?
You already know it, E, man. That's the one thing, unfortunately, I think was going to happen is they're definitely going to get rid of, Daniel Jones. I feel like right now with the organization, I just don't feel like he fits what they want. I was surprised they even drafted him as high as they did. No disrespect, even though I guess they felt like since he was in Peyton Manning and Eli Manning Academy, that he would do well. But no, I didn't go and it didn't translate in the pros. He had such a really good year last year, too. That's what surprised me. Like one year to the next, you never know. And you know how the NFL is. This is what have you done for me lately, league. And I feel like they definitely will move on and get one of those guys that they need in the college because it's a few nice, good quarterbacks coming out low key. And not only that, E, but then like I was just saying too, man, Black Monday coming, man. And I don't know if Ron Rivera's safe.
I'm hard pressed to see him making it past this. I mean, especially since we already know his replacement is pretty much in the house as we speak. So
who's his replacement? I don't know his name.
I think you know his name quite well. Something
no,
like
I don't.
His name kind of sounds like my name. It's Eric something or other. The Enemy, maybe? Yeah, that dude. That dude right there.
One of my favorite players to watch in college, man. He was like, if people haven't seen that brother play, man, you need to go back and look at some old school Colorado Eric Bieniemy tape, man. That guy, man.
Agreed. He was quite the spark plug. Reminds me a lot of also that kid Rocket Ishmael. You remember that dude?
Oh yeah.
Go back and see some of them highlights as well. But anyway, now let's talk about. Well, it wasn't the game of the week per se, but it definitely was the comeback of the week, no doubt about it. We had.
I was hurt.
Basically, I'm just gonna say Lions, Bears, and let you go.
Man, it was crazy because of the fact is, I wasn't happy at all, man. I definitely started taking jabs at Jared Goff, man, because, when we first got Jared Goff, man, and how bad things was, even though we didn't have the personnel that we have now, and the draft picks and the culture that now is what the Detroit Lions have. But I was just really surprised in how bad he was playing. And not only he was playing bad, I know you ain't see it in person. You heard it on the radio, but when you came home, you was like, man, what the hell? Who was he throwing the ball to? The dude right there in his face. It was just like he threw the ball right there to the defense, like he was giving the game away. So I was pissed, man. And I even hit you with a text. I even think I hit my nephew, Deanie Fox Jr. You know, I said, hey, Junior. No, I ain't called him Junior. I said, hey, Deanie, man. I don't think that he the answer right now in Detroit, man. They need to get rid of this guy.
I'm not gonna lie, you probably for the no, I ain't gonna say probably. It was the only time all year, even
I had
beyond that Baltimore game, where I started to have that feeling like, here we go again. But I didn't want to believe it. I was like, I'm gonna hold on. And then when the comeback started, I'm like, they about to do this thing. Understand, the Lions were behind by 13 points with 3 minutes left to go in the game. In our typical Lions world, it was over. It was over. Everybody was already on the phone calling the local radio station ready to go away. See, here it is, same old Lions. I knew it. The real Lions came on. They was already to have that phone call all situated. But then all of a sudden, Coach Dan Campbell pulled them boys to the side and said, look, this ain't that. We the real Lions. Showing what's really good. Next thing you know, them Lions.
It was like
baby.
Like a Rocky movie. It was wild because when I seen it, and I'm telling you, man, when I text you after that, I think my nephew texted me back because I went to the kitchen. I said, man, I'm about to give me a Gatorade, man. You know, give me a Gatorade kind of drinking, you know, lay back. Don't laugh at me, E. That was around the time I did the jumping jacks and tweaked my shoulder. So in the room and had my little sleek on. And then I looked at my nephew text. He said, they on the 2-yard line, man, with like 30 seconds to go or something like that. And I said, wait, what? So I looked at the red zone. Sure enough, they showed him running in, you know, spiking the ball. The crowd was crazy. I think our crowd is hyper than just, you can put our crowd to get the best crowds now because we up there.
Absolutely.
And then that strip sack at the end. Oh my God, that was just icing on the cake. Yeah, I went crazy, man. I basically had chill bumps and I stayed up the whole time. I wanted to hear everybody talk about it. And the Sunday night guys, I wanted to see all the haters on there. I wanted to see all the haters, man. And I still got to send you that where the Bears, I think I did send you that video when the Bears guys was pissed. Him and one of the ladies, one of the podcast people, they lashed out. And when they lashed out, it was one thing that we talked about and we were both upset at one point. But we had to, you know, bring it back down. And we thought about it. We said, yeah, man, we wanted a Montez Sweater. We wanted a pass rusher like a Chase Young. But when it comes down to it, we want guys that fit in that locker room. We want guys who's a culture fit. And I feel like right now, them having Montez Sweat didn't really impact much, man. What did Montez Sweat do that game that you saw that impressed you versus Jared Goff throwing the ball to people? Because Jared Goff threw 2 bad picks. One of them wasn't on him, but I still feel like the 2 picks that he threw was right to the people, man. And it was so bad to where I said, man, that's not good, man. We need to really reevaluate this guy. And but Montez Sweat, I forgot he was on the team. He kind of reminded me of like the missing people that we were talking about on defense, like Von Miller and Khalil Mack. That's what his presence wasn't felt.
And I'm so glad you brought up one Khalil Mack. Remember, at one point in time, they basically traded the farm to get Khalil Mack, and they were so unimpressed with him, they traded him somewhere else.
For a low draft.
Yes, so I'm really not understanding the Bears' understanding of defensive talent overall. Granted, Sweat, he did all right. He had a sack that game. But if the rest of the team looked like that, I'm thinking that, yeah, I got money, but I don't think I like where I'm at no more than I was when I was with the Commanders at this point. And in the end, I did something I was very glad I did. I actually was able to access some of Chicago's sports talk radio after the game. Ooh, salty. Ooh, they salty. Them Bears
And
real
Fields
salty.
really, I
They
feel
was
bad for
real.
Fields somewhat because he played great that game.
And no, it wasn't Justin Fields' fault. He the only reason
Not
why
at,
at that point. I think you got
not
your
at all.
quarterback in Chicago. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's the rest of that team that's trash.
I fainted when he threw that bomb, man, to your boy, man, see that DJ Moore, man. I said, "Oh my God, this is." When he threw that, I thought that was the nail. But he played great that game. He ran when they needed him to run, and he threw the ball when they needed him to throw the ball. Khalil Herbert came back, man. But a lot of people didn't realize too, man. They had like 3 offensive linemen. Their starting offensive line came back. Some guys who was kind of beat up and didn't play the other games came back. Man, it was 5 healthy offensive linemen that came back. Khalil Herbert came back and Justin Fields came back. So don't get it twisted. I don't really feel like the Bears are a great team, but I feel like if they were a little healthier, that they would be a little better than what they are right now. I still don't think that they'll be a 500 team, but at the same time, man, when we first saw them this year, we were disappointed after having such a strong preseason. And my man's Jordan Love, just really demolished them. But I still feel like they're going to be on the bottom of the totem pole, and I don't care what no one say. A lot of people talk trash too, about, oh man, the Lions, the same old Lions. They almost lost to, a trash Chicago Bears team. And I laughed because as soon as that person opened their mouth and said it, they were a Seahawk fan. I hit him up saying, how you holding up after that Rams game? Then now you looked up and Geno got hurt and Kenneth Walker got hurt. I want to tell you
Okay,
and keep
so
you
while I'm
updated
glad you
on
went here, let's go to that game right quick, shall we? That final score was Rams 17, Seahawks 16. It was definitely not a barn burner by any stretch of imagination, and it took them to make a late comeback just to get to that point. The Rams, not the Rams Super Bowl a couple years ago, they basically just hanging in there. So for you to think because they beat the Lions in overtime, I might add, that your team is better than our team, I don't think so. I don't think so. And of course, if Geno is hurt, and they have to go with the backup, whoever that is. Oh yeah, that's Locke, I believe, in Seattle. Yeah, it ain't happening for you.
You know what that clown told me to on social media, because we had a little back and forth. And first and foremost, big up to all the people who was on that hotline too, because it was talking about how we're 8-2 the first time since 1960 something. And
1960,
when that was said, people started hating and throwing shade, of course. And that's when the guy was saying that about they still took an L to Seattle, and that's when everybody jumped on him, man. And I said, man, y'all season over with. First and foremost, y'all let San Francisco pull out the win. And then you turn around and, well, I want to give you that injury report right now, too. I'm audible that. But Geno Smith will be playing.
Okay.
Kenneth Walker ain't playing. And I still feel like that arm is bad enough to San Francisco's going to get to him. And if San Francisco get to him, man, Drew Lock is not the answer. That clown said we can split against San Francisco, even if Geno's not healthy, because we have a good, backup quarterback, and Kenneth going to be day by day, and we still will be a playoff contender. I just stopped talking to him, man, because you got to be on crack.
And granted, you got another decent running back in Charbonnet over there, but he is not Kenneth Walker the fourth. And more importantly, even if Geno is playing this week, we know now he's not 100%, and you don't want a not 100% Geno playing against that defensive line over there in San Francisco. Remember, they got a kid named Bosa. They got a couple of linebackers named Law that you want to look out for. Remember they grabbed that dude Chase Young. Remember that guy? Yeah, that's not going to be a fun game for Geno at all.
They got, man, they just got so
the wide receiver core is a little banged up.
Yeah, it's a problem, man. I definitely don't like his chances, man. I definitely feel like when San Fran got their stuff back together, They're the team to beat in that division, hands
Right.
down.
So again, since we didn't jump to San Francisco, let's talk about them right quick. They won, of course, 27-14 over the Bucks. The Bucks ain't been quite the same since they played the Lions. You notice that?
You know what though, E? I feel like it was a lot of bad things that happened that game. Besides, Mike Evans doing what he normally do. But it was a lot of drop passes too, man. I used to notice that, and I used to notice Brady used to curse them out and be real pissed off with them on the sidelines. And I've noticed that it was a lot of drops that game, man. It was a wide open touchdown one of the guys didn't get, and it was like a 3rd and 2, and it was close to getting like the teeter to the red zone, and they didn't convert. And I said, man, it was just a lot of mental mistakes that they made in that game. But let's just be honest, man. You playing the San Francisco team that after they came off a bye, they're on a mission right now, man. Brock Purdy had like a perfect quarterback rating, man. And they definitely got Christian McCaffrey more involved. The more surprising story to me was Brandon Ayuk with the 5 receptions, 156 yards, and a score, man. He cooked one of the guys where they went deep, man, and he went in for that touchdown. I said, man, they're looking as good as any team, and I'm afraid of for any team that got to play San Fran right now. I definitely feel like Baker did enough right now that he should still get consideration, but it's going to be tough, man, because think about it, man. We don't know if Mike Evans is going to be there next year, man. They didn't re-sign him, so I'm really curious in seeing what's going to be in the future for that team because we already know that San Francisco is basically Super Bowl or bust right now.
Right. And then again, Bowles, I'm pretty sure his seat a little hot too right now. And we already heard some of the rumors of who might take his place over there. We won't get into that at the moment, but you know what I'm saying. Okay, let's move on, people. We got a couple more games to go through before we go on to what happened in the Monday night game. That's gonna be interesting. Okay, so let's talk about the Jaguars and the Titans. As you know, Will Levis is now the starting quarterback for the rest of the season for the Titans. And I think this is the first game where he came up and didn't play quite so good. Jaguars look real good against him. And of course, I think they're really starting to get their stride now. Remember, it was that one game early on in the season when you was kind of wondering about what's going on with Jacksonville. Since then, they done won like 5 out of 6. They looking real good. What you think, you?
Yeah, man. And at the same time, too, man, remember what I said, man. They lost to the Texans team, but the Texans is not there and they ain't no pushovers no more. The Texans making noise, man. They 2 games above 500, playing really good with the rookie. Like you said, one of the best rookies I've ever seen that came out of
Man,
college,
we ain't
man.
talking about the Texans right now. We're going to get to them. What about the Jacksonville Jaguars? Stay on point, baby.
The Jaguars, man, I just look at them and I feel like they are the team that I thought that they was going to be this year. The difference is I was more surprised in how well Calvin Ridley played because he's been MIA for a while. And they said that he's going to get a game where he's going to, do well eventually. But man, he really showed that tandem is worth keeping over there, man. That's really good. And Christian Kirk, they got a really solid squad over there, man. And Travis Etienne is on a whole new level right now. I'm really happy with what I've been seeing with them, though. I'm gonna definitely say that the Jaguars is gonna be one of them teams that make noise in the playoffs too. And I don't think they're gonna come as a shocker this year, man. I feel like if they beat the team, it's gonna be because they beat the team this year, man. I think the smoke and mirrors are gone with them. You got to definitely respect that squad and who they are. And man, I think their future just as bright as ours right now.
Okay, my people, we have a situation. What's going to happen is we're going to cut it off at the moment, but we're going to be back with part 2 of this after this short break. All right, hold on, you. All right, y'all, we are back to part 2 of the show. Sorry for the interruption. Real life sometimes takes over when we do these broadcasts and such, even when we recording. That being said, we are on to further explanation of week 11 and some of the games that we saw. Now I want to talk about that Cowboys-Panthers game, Hugh. As you know, the Cowboys beat up on the Panthers 33-10. And I mean, it's clear when they play a scrub team, Cowboys handle all the business. It's the big teams like the San Francisco's and the Philadelphia's of the world that the Cowboys had trouble with. What's your thoughts on the Hugh?
People always say same old Detroit Lions. When we was losing, they're the same old Cowboys. They show their head when they supposed to. You know, it's like when you have stiff competition, you don't really step up to the plate and play on that level. But when you have the bad teams, your world beaters, with the exception of the Cardinals with Josh Dobbs, you know, when he was playing there, that was one of the games that one of their first losses to a Cardinals team who I felt like who shouldn't even beat them. So you never know what Cowboy team you're going to get from one week to the next. They need to fix that.
No, I think you do know what Cowboy team you're gonna get from week to week. When they play a good team, you're gonna have them struggle. When they play a bad team, they're gonna beat them up like chopped liver. I think that's basically Cowboys that we get. That being said, that should be more than enough to get them into the playoffs. The question is what happens when they get there. That's gonna be the key. Okay, we don't even
Mm-hmm.
discuss that no further because
Usually one.
they do plenty of talking about them Cowboys on all the other media outlets. Trust. So Packers and Chargers. Packers actually won that game 23-20. After the game, of course, the coach, Mr. Stanley, was asked about his defense since he is supposed to be a defensive minded coach and whatnot. And he basically told everybody, don't worry about it. He got that. It's on him. They're going to get it right. Is they going to get it right, Hugh? Or is we just waiting for the other shoe to fall?
Oh, he just waiting for the next coach to come over there because he didn't already had his opportunities and he messed up. I don't really feel like he's doing a good job of convincing those guys of he is the actual coach that they want him to be. Because come on, man, when you got Khalil Mack now another injury on your team from Joey Bosa, it's like, man, you need to start looking in a new direction to try to get you another defensive end because that guy just don't seem like him and being healthy, you know, go hand in hand. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of decisions that need to be made in that organization, and one of them is figuring out what they're going to do with their new head coach because I think after Black Monday he won't be there in that organization anymore. That should be the end of Brandon Staley, which is well deserved.
And then, of course, Joey Bosa now out for the foreseeable future with yet another foot type injury. So, yeah, I think that's the beginning and the end for that, brother, plain and simple. All right, we can move on. Of course, you
Move
know what
on.
happened in that good old Monday night game where we had the Buffalo Bills and the New York Jets. Again, we got to do a better job of flexing these games. I understand early on the season you're looking at matchups, and you know, of course, you expected that to be a good game before everything happened because you expected it was going to be the quarterbacks going head up, that being Aaron Rodgers and of course Josh Allen, but we didn't get that. So we need to fix that because these Sunday night games, some of them been real bold, and this was no exception. That being said, they didn't switch quarterbacks for the Jets. I'm gonna ask you one simple question: is Zach Wilson done?
He done with that team. I think that Robert Sala tried to be polite about it, but when you're the first string quarterback and you don't produce, and then you get replaced by Tim Boyle. And then now I find out not only Tim Boyle's a starting quarterback, but then you have Simeon as the backup, and now he's the third string quarterback. I just think that it's time for them to, at least if he's going to stay or survive in the NFL, let him go to another team, which I still feel like he'd be better off going to USFL or going somewhere to where he could develop his skills, man. I don't think that that should be a bad idea for him, man, to kind of work on his craft because obviously it didn't work for him in the NFL, man. It's just unfortunate because I thought that he would be good after seeing what he did in college, but most times colleges don't produce going into the pros. It's totally different, and it's a like I said, what have you done for me lately, league in the NFL? And if you're not producing at a high level and you're second overall draft pick, then yeah, they got to figure out what out there for him. Whether because I don't think that they're going to stick with him. Whether they go back to Aaron Rodgers or if they go with someone in the draft, but I don't think that he'll be there next season.
Okay, I'm glad you brought up Aaron Rodgers in that scenario too. Of course, Aaron Rodgers doing his weekly appearance on the Pat McAfee show basically says that all things considered, he should be back somewhere around Christmas Eve. The question, Hugh, is should he even bother?
I don't believe so. I think that right now, because I don't believe they'll be in the playoffs, so I don't think that they'll really have nothing to fight for. I feel like Zach Wilson did enough to where they're not going to go to any playoff. And the sad part about it was a lot of times when you've seen their games, it was so weird to where you'll see that you'll look some games and be like, well, it's not all his fault. But some games you look and you're like, it's 100% his fault. So I'm just hoping that, if anything, man, they can figure something out. But it's definitely not looking too good.
Yeah, I say, even though he said it doesn't matter if they're in the playoffs or not, he still plans on coming back on the 24th. It's just a waste, Aaron. I
Hmm.
understand you might just be saying this just to kind of inspire your team to be close enough to where if the possibility is available, you come back. But all being said and done, just wait till next year, bro. You ain't got nothing to prove nobody in the end. You're a 4-time MVP. You won Super Bowl. If you retired tomorrow, we can't really be mad at you. Not for real. So that being said, that leaves us with one last game to talk about from last week. That would be the Monday night matchup between the Eagles and the Chiefs. Of course, as you know, the Eagles won that game 21-17. First of all, Hugh, did you think? Hold on, Hugh. Oh, that was weird. All righty then. Well, I can hear you very clearly, but for whatever reason, my screen has gone black, you guys. Can you see me, Hugh?
Yeah, I can
Hugh?
see you.
Okay, that's a weird one. So, as we figure out the technicals on this end, you just keep talking, Hugh, about the Eagles and the Chiefs, and I'll see what's up on this end.
It happened exactly the way I thought that it would. I'm not surprised. I don't feel like they did a good job of investing into, at least a veteran presence in their receiving core, which is something that was kind of weird. I think more than less that they needed a Donovan Peoples Jones or somebody over there who can get them a spark in that offense. McCole Hartman hasn't really been playing as much, which surprised me because he's been in that organization for a while. And I just don't feel like he have enough over there. And I don't think that he trusts those guys as much because Marquez Valdez Scantling should have definitely caught that pass in the end zone. And when he missed that pass, I wasn't surprised at all because I don't feel like he has a good wide receiver core over there. Not only that, it's too many drops too. I just felt like even though they were bullying the Eagles at one point, the Eagles did good to basically.
Find more from Hugh Lee on the Pure to the Game Sports blog or on his Guru's Perspective podcast on Spotify or Anchor Podcasts.